Hi everybody, I'm Jacob Poole. I'm here teaching how to compile and run on the Cloud9 IDE. This is after the Cloud9 introductory of how to get to Cloud9 from using the AWS Academy tool. Once you've looked at that video, you can go ahead and use this to compile and run. Unlike how previous years have done it, where you just run a c.bat or r.bat to actually compile and run your stuff, we're going to be using command line because we cannot actually use those executable files. So if you see here, what I've started with is this is the previous curriculum, just as an example. The new curriculum should have a base code in the first folder, and we're just going to be using that. So we have the T21 here. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. We have T21 here, all the different files in here. We're going to be using 0 and then the base code. So this is basically just a base starter.java, and we're going to look at these files, but we're actually never going to use these again. So the starter.java, it just is a basic system.out.print. So we're printing this line here, and in order to compile and run it, we have to basically do what these c.bat or c command used to do. So the c.bat, it uses Java C, which is Java compile. It is a command that Java installs onto your computer or here on this environment. And if I type, say, Java C, it'll give me information of what I can do with that. So I'm going to clear this. If we type Java C and then a file itself, then we can actually compile it. It's only Java files, not class files, just Java files to create a class file. Now this is just what type of release code we're using, or a release of Java we're using. We're using version 8 here. You should be able to use version 11, which is the brand new one. So that's just a way of defining which version we're going to be using. And then instead of this star here, we could have put starter.java, which is the name of our file, because the cbat's in the same folder. It can just be the name of the file. But for later down the line, it's easy to put star.java, which it basically says all the files that use the .java ending, we're going to compile those. So we're going to go ahead and first get to the directory. We're in the base directory, which is this folder up here. We're going to go ahead and use cd to change directory to T21, and then we hit enter. We can then ls or dir, and there's all the different folders. So we're going to go ahead and cd change directory into 000, and we can hit tab, which fills in the rest of it. You can also hit tab multiple times to see what files come after. So if I write 2 zeros, there are all the 0 numbers, all the digits from 0 to 10 will show up. If I do 1, you should see all the teens show up. So we're going to go ahead and 000, which is the intro. And we're going to go ahead and see, what folder's in there. So we're going to go into the base code, which is just the folder we're in to run this basic Java file. Now, we're going to try to, now since we're in this folder, if we're in another folder and tried to run this compile command, it would try to look for any Java files in that folder. We don't want to do that. We want to look for the folder that we're specifically writing our Java code in and then compile in there. So ideally, we can just Control V after I've copied this piece and run this guy, and that should compile. And now you see something popped up here. So a class file popped up. This is the binary that the computer actually sees. You can see it's a bunch of gibberish, not something that we can quite understand, but the compiler does create this, and then Java itself runs this code that the computer actually understands, in ones and zeros, whatever it needs to be, and then that's what actually outputs. So now we looked at the c.bat. This should be similar to the command for Mac. It's just the Java C, same thing, but without that release. So now we compiled. We have a class file, and now ideally from that class file we should be able to run. So running is just using the Java command itself. Java command itself, nothing else. And that's the same for here. So if we do, we'll do the Mac one here. This one is defining, so similar to how we said the release version is 8, This one's looking for, this is the class path, which is just where jar files are stored once you compile the program. We're going to just go ahead and ignore that. It should be direct to the correct class path. So we'll actually just run the Java starter. So if I run the Java starter in the same folder that I am in, I'll go ahead and clear this just for easy viewing purposes. We can run that Java starter. Look at that. We have the original I love to learn coding remotely, which is the old last year curriculum. So say if we've changed something up, say in person, I'll delete that. We'll make it cool. We'll go ahead and save that. So we all saved. And then I'm going to hit the up arrow to go to previous commands that I've typed in. I'm going to run that compile, which is the Java C again. We're going to run that again because we need to recompile after we edit our code. And then we're going to go ahead and run. Cool. And that should be it. It says in person now. And that's how you run your Java files and compile them in the Cloud9 IDE. Cool. Thanks.